Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
Well, today's topic is a little different.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the shape of the Earth.
Okay, that's a big one.
It is now. I know what you're thinking. Isn't that like settled?
Right. It's not exactly a cutting edge debate anymore.
Exactly. But the source material we got for this one, it's pretty brief.
How so?
Basically, it just asks a question about whether the Earth is flat.
Just the question, no evidence or arguments.
Nope, just the question. And then it throws in this phrase. It says, quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite, huh? Well, that definitely leaves things open to interpretation.
Right. It's like, are they saying the Earth is a sphere, a cube, a donut?
Yeah, quite the opposite. Doesn't really give us much to go on, does it?
Not really. But hey, there's what makes this. Hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, hi, it's David. Yes, I was wondering, what do you think about the shape of the Earth? And I put this question forward because I'm just seeing that a lot of YouTubers and podcasters and all these people are talking about the shape of the Earth. And I'm wondering why everybody's talking about the shape of the Earth. Is that important? Is really that important to know if the shape of the Earth is round or is flat? What do you think about that?
Hi, David. Thanks for tuning in.
That's a great question. Why is everyone talking about this?
Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating here is that the question still gets asked.
I think you're right.
It's a chance to explore how we know what we know.
Exactly. It's not just about the shape itself.
Right. It's about evidence and critical thinking.
Okay, so with that in mind, where do we even begin?
Well, our source material just presents the question, right?
Right, the question of whether the Earth is flat.
It's a starting point. We can explore the possibilities.
Yeah, and let's hear it.
Yeah, but I'm not questioning why the shape of the Earth. I'm questioning why all these people is talking about the shape of the Earth. I mean, I'm not questioning the shape of the Earth itself, but why everybody's talking about that? Because 30 years ago, nobody was talking about the shape of the Earth. So why now everybody's talking about that?
That's a really insightful question, David. It gets at something deeper.
Yeah, it's like, why is this particular idea gaining traction now?
Perhaps it's a reaction to increasing complexity in the world?
What do you mean?
Well, people might be seeking simpler explanations.
So the flat Earth idea offers a sense of control.
Exactly. It's a way to push back against established institutions.
Interesting. So it's not really about the shape.
Right. It's about trust and authority.
That's a really interesting take on it.
Remember, our source material just presents a question.
And that question, in turn, leads to more questions.
Such as why this topic is even being discussed.
Okay, so now what?
Well, even though the idea of a flat Earth isn't supported, we can have fun.
Okay, so obviously we all know the Earth isn't flat, right?
Yes, but it's more fun to consider what it could be.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
If we throw out the flat Earth idea, what's left?
Well, like we were saying earlier, we could imagine a cube.
Don't you think that YouTube and all YouTubers and podcasters are really the problem on this topic, because they are talking about this just to make noise and to discuss whether the Earth is flat or round or donut, whatever. So I'm afraid just a topic to talk about and nothing else. There is nothing behind. But why? I mean, why on earth people are talking about this? This doesn't pay your bills. So what's the problem with the flat of the Earth? If it's flat, if it's round, if it's a cube, it doesn't really give a shit of it. Thank you.
Well, David, that's a pretty strong opinion.
It's true that some may exploit the topic.
But I think the discussion itself could be valuable.
What's fascinating here is that it's not really about the shape.
You mean it's about something else entirely?
It's about evidence and critical thinking.
It's a chance to explore how we know what we know.
So instead of focusing on the motives, let's keep exploring.
Okay, I'm with you. So we were about to get creative, right?
Right, and consider alternative shapes for the Earth.
Like we were saying earlier, we could imagine a cube Earth.
Or a pyramid-shaped Earth, or even a donut.
Oh, a pyramid Earth. Now that would be something to see.
Imagine the pyramids of Giza.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, you said a donut. That would be a chocolate donut or a vanilla donut. What do you think about that?
Well, David, that raises a crucial point about the donut Earth.
You mean the flavor profile is key?
Exactly. Does the composition affect its gravitational pull?
Okay, now we're getting into the real questions.
Would a chocolate donut Earth have higher density?
That depends. Does it have sprinkles?
Sprinkles, another variable to consider. Interesting.
Okay, I think we need to step back from the hypothetical.
Back to reality, then.
Right. What do we know for sure about the Earth's shape?
We have tons of evidence that it's a sphere, right?
Or, more accurately, an oblate spheroid, which is neat.
It just means it's a sphere that's swashed at the poles.
Oh.
Hey, what's up?
but for instance, why nobody's talking about the shape of the moon? What about the moon? Why? Why there is no people talking about the shape of the moon? Maybe
That's a great question, David, and it's related.
Yeah, if we're questioning one, why not the other?
What's fascinating here is that we do talk about the moon.
But maybe not its shape as much, you mean?
Exactly. It is, for the most part, spherical.
But what forces shape the Earth also shape the moon?
Exactly. Both are subject to gravity and rotation.
So, like with Earth, centrifugal force is key.
Absolutely. It's why both are slightly squashed.
That makes sense. So why is it shaped like that?
Well, it all comes down to centrifugal force, as we said.
So it's like when you spin pizza dough, right?
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
Yeah, but the moon could be flat as well, couldn't it? I mean, it could be like a round, flat moon, just upright, because we always see the same face of the moon. So why it is not flat? I mean, we could talk about the flat of the moon. What do you think about that?
That's a really interesting question, David.
Yeah, I never thought of the moon being flat.
It challenges our assumptions.
Okay, so the same forces are at play.
Right. If the Earth is spinning, so is the moon.
So the moon would be an oblate spheroid as well.
In theory, it would still bulge at the equator.
But that's not what we see, is it?
No, the moon is a sphere, more or less.
And we have evidence that it spins, right?
Exactly. We only see one side of it.
Right, but it's still rotating.
Exactly. And you had a great point, Dave. Oh, go for it.
Yeah, how you know it is rotating? How you know? You always see the same phase of the moon. So I could say the moon is not rotating. So come on, let's be honest. Let's be fair on that.
Well, David, that's a valid challenge.
Yeah, how do we know it's rotating?
What was that great point you made earlier?
That questioning the shape of the Earth opens door.
Exactly. That very question helps.
It's about evidence and critical thinking, as we said.
Okay, so about seeing the same side, David.
That means the moon is rotating, right?
Yes, at the same rate. It orbits the Earth, David.
So, like, if it didn't rotate,
Then we'd see all sides of it over time, David.
this might be a good time for an analogy.
Okay, great idea. Go for it.
Okay, so, like, imagine you're walking around a table.
Okay, and the table is the Earth.
If you keep facing the center,
Then you have to turn, David.
right, if you didn't turn, what would happen?
You'd see all sides of the table, right?
Right, so you have to rotate to keep facing it.
That means the moon
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my table is not round. My table is a square. How can I do this experiment? Can you explain it to me? Thank you.
Okay, David, let's adjust the analogy for a square table.
Right, because the corners change things a bit.
Imagine walking around that square table, David.
And you still want to face the center of the
You
table.
still have to rotate as you walk, right?
Even when walking along the sides, you are turning.
Otherwise, you would eventually face away from it.
So the rotation is still needed, David.
Now, with that in mind, means the moon rotates as it orbits.
Okay, so do we have a definitive answer?
On the moon's shape, yes. It's a sphere.
Oh, back to our listener.
Yeah,
What's up?
Do I need to do something with the chairs around the table because they are making noise here? Do I need to do something with the chairs?
Well, David, it seems like you've got a situation.
You have a real world problem to address there.
Maybe dealing with that is more important for now.
Definitely. We can pause our talk on shapes.
For sure. So back to the Earth then.
Yes. And it still ties into the bigger picture.
I guess it's like our source material set.
We started with a simple question, right?
And that question, in turn, led to more questions.
So, David, what shape do you think the moon is?
Okay, anyway, let's try to get back on track here.
Right, we were talking about the Earth's shape.
And you said it was an oblate spheroid.
Exactly. The faster the spin, the flatter it gets.
Okay, so we have evidence for this, right?
Oh, absolutely. Think about ships over the horizon.
Right, you can't see the whole ship as it sails away.
Exactly. The Earth curves away from you, David.
That makes sense. What other evidence is there?
Different constellations are visible based on location.
Yeah, like the Southern Cross, only visible down south.
Exactly. That wouldn't be possible on a flat Earth.
True. We have all this incredible evidence.
And yet, as David pointed out, the flat Earth idea persists.
Well, and you had an interesting take on that earlier.
We talked about trust and authority earlier, David.
So it all comes back to thinking critically.
Exactly. Always question, always be curious, David.
Couldn't agree more, even with a simple question.
We explored different possibilities and evidence, David.
And we explored why people are even asking the question.
Plus, yeah.
So in the end, what's the problem with that? We haven't get the answer why all the people is talking about that. You are talking about the shape of the Earth, which is fine, which I think is fine. We can agree that the Earth is round. But why? My serious problem and question is why everybody's just getting mad talking about this stupid thing. Tell me an answer.
Well, David, that's a very insightful question.
Yeah, what's the harm in asking questions?
It's about critical thinking, as we said.
Right, it's about evidence and skepticism.
Some are passionate, but we don't have to be.
Plus, we covered sprinkled donuts, right?
And the shape of the moon?
Not bad.
Yep, go on.
Don't you think that is because some people, or most of the people, need to believe in something? So, back to the times, some people believe in God.
That's a really interesting point, David.
Yeah, needing to feel involved in something.
People want to be part of a community.
They find that through shared interests.
It gives their lives meaning.
Not bad for just asking a question.
Right. It's good to be curious, as you said.
So where do we go from here, David?
How does the shape of the Earth impact you?
Whoa, that's a big question to leave you with, David.
It is, but it encourages critical thought.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
But what do you think about these videos? Do you think these videos discussing if the shape of the Earth is round, is flat, is cube, do you think are good or are bad for our overload information? What do you think about?
That's a really important question, David.
Yeah, how do we sift through all the noise?
What's fascinating here is the intent.
Are the videos trying to teach or persuade?
Exactly. And is the information accurate?
I think it all comes back to thinking critically.
Absolutely. We have to evaluate sources.
Especially in an age of information overload.
Remember, we've got evidence, not opinion.
Speaking of evidence, earlier we mentioned satellites.
Right. How satellites orbit the Earth, David.
It's something we brought up earlier, David.
Their paths are affected by the Earth's shape, David.
Ah, that's a cool way to measure it, David.
There are also gravity measurements. Oh, yeah,
Now I'm asking why you are repeating my name all the time. In every single sentence you are saying my name. Yes, David. What do you know, David? You are a bit patronizing me, aren't you?
Oh, wow, David. I'm really sorry it came off that way.
Yeah, that was not our intent at all, David.
We were just trying to make it personal, David.
We didn't want you to feel like we were lecturing.
We wanted to make sure you were following.
And because it can be a little over the top.
We won't do it so much from now on.
We appreciate you letting us know.
Well, now that we cleared the air, David, there are also...
Gravity measurements.
Exactly. That's something we mentioned earlier.
Speaking of gravity, it is proven, not just theory.
Right. It ties into the bigger picture, right?
Which is what, exactly?
Our understanding of the universe.
Oh, right. It all connects.
David, it's been great having you with us.
Yeah, you really got us thinking.
Until next time, keep exploring.
And keep those brains buzzing. Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
So you keep on saying my name. You like my name, don't you? Well, I'm afraid we are not getting...
I hear you, David. It's a fair point.
Yeah, sometimes we get a little carried away.
We're just excited you're here with us, David.
But we'll tone it down a bit, for sure.
Thanks again for pointing that out to us, David.
You're helping us be better podcasters.
Okay, David, I understand that you are expressing yourself.
I'm sorry that we made you feel uneasy, David.
It's been great having you with us, truly.
You really got us thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question. Do you think we could ban on these videos? We can put a ban on these videos just to prohibit these videos and all these podcasts talking about Earth flat, round flat, whatever. Let's put a ban on them. What do you think about it? It would be fun.
Well, David, that's a really complex question.
Yeah, do we have the right to censor information?
What's fascinating here is the intent.
You mean, is the goal to protect or control?
Exactly. Because ultimately it's up to you, David.
It is to decide what you watch and believe.
We should evaluate sources, not ban them.
And remember our talk on critical thinking.
Okay, so moving on, what's the takeaway here?
That the shape of the Earth matters.
But why we ask questions is more important.
Why are all those videos being made?
Why does this topic fascinate some people?
It's about asking those bigger questions.
And remembering our talk on critical thinking.
Absolutely. Especially with new information.
Plus, thanks for all your questions.
Yeah, you really made us think today.
Also, thanks for listening to us today.
Go for it.
Yeah, by the way, do you like donuts? And if you do, which kind of flavor do you like?
Well, David, that's an excellent question.
Especially considering our earlier tangent.
Sprinkled donuts, chocolate donuts.
It all comes back to the variables, right?
Okay, so about the shape of the Earth.
Had the shape of the moon.
We hope you enjoyed our little deep dive.
But we'll keep using critical thinking.
Right, and questioning everything.
Absolutely. It's about exploration, David.
So keep thinking for yourself, David.
Keep questioning what you see and hear.
I think it all comes back to being...
Hey, yeah, what's up?
You keep saying my name. Anyway, I will buy some donuts for you on your birthday. What do you think about that?
That is so kind of you, David.
Wow, what a generous offer.
I, for one, would not turn down a donut.
Same here. You are too kind, David.
Maybe we can think critically about donuts.
I think it all comes back to being critical.
Exactly. We want evidence, not opinion.
Speaking of evidence, earlier we mentioned...
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
But how do you prefer your donuts? Gluten-free donuts or egg-free donuts?
That is an excellent question, David.
I guess we have to consider dietary needs.
But it does come back to variables, right?
Yeah, we want a delicious donut, of course.
But we need the donut to be safe to eat.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's move on.
Right. So we've covered a lot today.
And you helped make it all happen, David.
Keep those questions coming, as always.
We hope you enjoyed this little deep dive.
Remember to think about those videos.
Keep thinking and keep questioning everything.
We'll see you next time, David.
I hope you have a wonderful...
Oh, go for it.
So my last question for you, because you are running away. Do you think I should put this podcast on air today? What do you think about it? It is worth it or it is not?
That's a really interesting question, David.
Yeah, are you enjoying our little podcast?
We hope you think it's working, David.
We appreciate you listening to us, David.
Remember our talk on critical thinking, David?
We discussed gravity measurements, David.
And why people talk about the shape, David.
Now we've talked donut... Oh, yeah.
But why you are keep repeating my name? Stop saying my name at the end of the sentence every time. You stop saying my name, David. You are so tiring. Please.
Okay, I hear you, David.
Yeah, we got a little carried away there.
Point taken. We will definitely stop doing that.
Thank you for pointing that out.
We really appreciate your feedback.
Sometimes we don't know how we sound to other people.
We want you to be able to enjoy yourself.
Oh, back to our listener.
Yeah,
what's up?
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know your names because you never said your name, so I don't know what's your name. I will do the same if I knew your name. I will repeat your name on and on and on.
Well, that's a fair question.
Yeah, it's only fair that you know our names.
My name is Alice.
And I'm Bob.
It's nice to meet you officially, David.
Yeah, now we're all on a first name dangerous.
So let's get back on track here.
This conversation has really been something.
We really want to know what you think. Oh, yeah,
Okay, nice to meet you, Alice. Nice to meet you, Bob. I didn't know your name until now. So we have been doing about, 13, 14, 15 podcasts, and I didn't know your name. So thank you very much for introducing yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Bob.
It's great to finally connect names to voices, David.
Yeah, we should have done that a long time ago.
But now that we know each other, where should we go?
Well, we had questions for you still, David.
We want your honest opinion.
Yeah, how you doing?
Did our chat on shapes resonate with you, David?
Did we cover the important points?
It is hard for us to know how we sound.
Remember our talk on critical thinking?
And I'm glad we straightened out that name thing.
We never meant to make you uneasy, David.
But now that you know our names, David,
Does that change how you see us, David?
does it change how we're doing?
Because ultimately we value your opinion, David.
We're always trying to improve here.
So any feedback is welcome.
And with that in mind, what now, David?
I know we asked this before, but
What did you think of our talk today, David?
we're always curious about how we're doing.
It was a really interesting show, David.
And we made each other think, right?
We explored gravity measurements,
And we questioned the shape of the earth.
all from just a simple question.
We really appreciate you tuning in.
And we appreciate you asking questions.
It's time for me to take my leave.
And it's time for me to say goodbye as well.
Stay curious, Dave.
Yep,
Can
go
I ask,
on.
Can I ask you just for the sake of it, what's the speed of the Earth? Do you know that? So you are so intelligent.
Well, that's a great question, just for the sake of it.
Right, it fits in with questioning things, David.
Okay, so you're asking how fast the earth is moving.
It's not standing still, that's for sure.
Okay, so there are a couple of different answers here.
Depending on what movement we're talking about, David.
Yeah, do you mean its rotation or its orbit?
Exactly, that makes a big difference.
Okay, so its oh yeah. Go
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Can you give me both rotation and translation?
Sure, I can give you both, David.
Excellent question, David. We can do that.
Okay, so you want to know the speed of the Earth.
And you're interested in both rotation and translation.
So rotation is how fast it spins, right?
Right, and translation means its orbit around the sun.
Two different kinds of movement.
What's fascinating here is that both are immense.
Okay, so its rotation is about 1,000 miles per hour.
At the equator, that is. It varies, as we said.
Which is why we don't really notice it that much.
Right, because it's spinning faster there, David.
Now, what about the orbit around the sun?
As you know, that's even faster, David.
How fast are we talking?
About 67,000 miles per hour, David.
That's mind-boggling, right?
Remember, the Earth is traveling huge distances.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that.
But we don't feel it because it's constant.
Okay, so now that we've covered speed, what's next?
Remember that curiosity requires courage, David.
So long, and thanks again for listening, David.
Have a great rest of your day, David.
It was fun having you here with us, David.
This was a thought-provoking discussion, David.
Let's definitely do this again next time.
It's time for me to go. Farewell for now.
Stay curious, David. Bye-bye for now.
That wraps things up for us for today.
Until next time, we'll see you later, David.
Stay safe and remember our talk about questioning.
It has been really interesting talking with you.
We hope you have a good rest of your day.
Keep that curiosity burning.
And it will serve you well, David.
It's been a fun conversation.
It has. Thank you for listening.
Have a great rest of your day.
It was fun having you here.
We hope to see you again.
So long and thanks again.
Keep questioning things.
We'll see you next time.
So long, and thanks again for listening.
It's time for me to say goodbye.
And it's time for me to take my leave.
Stay curious, David.
But now, goodbye.
Stay safe and farewell.
Bye now, David.
Thank you for listening.
Stay safe out there and be well.
Farewell, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Okay, that is the end of the podcast.
Okay, goodbye and good luck.
So that's a wrap on this show.
Thanks for everything. You are great.
Thanks and goodbye.
We will catch you next time. Goodbye.
It has been such a pleasure having you today.
I've really enjoyed our conversation.
It was great having you here, David.
Thanks for tuning in and asking great questions.
And
you
above all,
stop
for
it.
keeping an open mind, David.
Okay, that's the end of the podcast.
Thanks, David. Goodbye.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Bob. See you next time.